Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Mad Realms Talking Skritt. I'm your host, Jim, and we've got, it's just a boring week. Again, we just seem to have a lot of these. Got this video that released that gave us some look into the future. It's not really not all that big a deal. I mean, even though we saw Tengu being an active force in the game. Finally. But Icebrood Saga's Chapter 1 Truce trailer. Information on ArenaNet's extra live stream, but before we get to that, first let me introduce you to my fellow guests. He is the one true High Priest of Abaddon, and you can find him preaching the gospel in the depths of space. Here we have Dayo.
Hello, everybody. What's my AFK image? The guy that's like aliens?
Abaddon.
Also, dwarves is where it's at. That's what you should be seeing in that trailer, not the Tengu. That was a red herring to throw all the people off. Like, oh, can't dwarves.
I'm sorry, it's just they're so short I kind of just completely missed them.
Also, they look like stone, so you probably thought it was just
kind of
like,
blends
man,
in.
they really made nice rocks for the update.
Fantastic rocks. And we also have streaming over on Twitch, where he answers the age-old question: where exactly do you sneak attack a fire elemental? Say hello to H.
You don't have a crit spot, so nowhere.
Okay. Doesn't explain why we can make them bleed.
True.
Especially without a crit spot. I know where mine is, so if you hit me in the crit spot, I'd bleed.
Yeah, I yeah. Did you think about that, dude? Or,
Oh, he thought about it.
okay.
So, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, our first topic here is the Icebrood Saga, Chapter 1, Truce. Wow. Like, are
No,
we...
Guild Wars 2.
Yeah. Jormag insists they're not Tyrion's real enemy. It's hard to take a manipulative elder dragon at their word, especially when they've left a wreckage of bitter wounds and broken bonds in their wake. But Timy's research has detected something sinister on the approach, and Jormag may indeed prove to be the less urgent threat. It's certainly a ominous intro, is it not? We're gonna loop that. Cool. Is there audio playing there?
Sounds like nothing is gonna happen.
You'll be fine. It's fine.
No, I don't hear any audio.
Okay, good. Because I don't want to end up playing audio and getting all that bullshit again. Yes, QED. That's what we're looking for. A chapter features Dragon Response missions in Brisbane Wildlands, Gandharan Fields, and Metrica Province. Teams of 1 to 5 heroes are needed on the scene to protect citizens, defend each area, and eliminate rampaging minions. Take down the dragon champion at the heart of the assault and drive them back into the ground. So, thoughts, friends? Response missions.
I mean, just to put everybody on edge, by just hearing that, little bit of disappointment. Just a little bit.
Do tell.
Because I know we've talked about it, I think it was in the Discord, was linked in the description. I think. It should be. But I was really hoping, and I mean, just by looking at the thing, you get the feeling of like, it almost feels like season 1 of like the invasions, but also like a small instance thing, or at least you hope. But then when it only talks about 1 to 5 players, are we going to have a zone thing? And I think I talked about it in the Discord, link in the description. That maybe hopefully it works like Nightmare Tower, in the sense that it's like open world for the thing, and like maybe at the end, maybe you do the coup de grace finale portion with your 1 to 5 people, like as an instance thing. Hopefully.
So it's kind of like a minimal, like there's an update to the zone, and something happens, and then you enter the instance with your 1 to 5 people in order to finish.
Yeah, like the
plot.
end. It's like, hey, we drove back the main force, and we need a small group to go after the general that is taking it down, or whatever the story may be. And it's like, hey, commander, you go in with your friends. Hopefully. Did I mention fingers crossed?
Age?
I mean, also, like, keep in mind when you see that trailer, like, stuff is going to be coming. It's not going to be in that patch in 2 weeks. So don't expect Tengu in 2 weeks. Don't expect Coda in 2 weeks. As far as this patch is concerned, it's Crystal Bloom and Ebon Vanguard.
Yeah, that's the allied races that they have promised to come.
Just to not get your hopes up, and I want to hear on Reddit, why don't we get Tengus? And that's what they said.
They already explained. Well, like, what's your thought on like these dragon response mission things? Or are you withholding judgment?
It's Scarlet Invasion essentially, and those are fun. So I'm hoping it's kind of like that. They got the tech to do it again, because the last time they tried to do it, the servers did not handle it and they had to cancel it. So hopefully this time around maybe that's why there have been so many weird issues with servers lately.
Maybe they've been testing things behind the scenes.
Yeah. So I think it'll be cool. Like, invasion style events are always fun for me, but it gets people like collaborating, coming together. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I am intrigued at the thought that this is instanced content, especially that they are replayable and that they are linked into the new mastery track and the allied factions. But like, I don't know. Like, I like the idea behind the open world stuff, but I kind of understand if they wanted to craft it a little more. Like, limiting the number of players you can take into it lets them tailor the experience a little bit better.
Yeah, my only worry is, since it is 1 to 5, I mean, people maybe shouldn't expect, unless they've really revamped the whole, like, maybe this is why it took a little bit, was maybe they like scaled it to, like, if you have 2 people, maybe it's a different experience, like different difficulty experience that's fine tuned and not just increased in health points and maybe like I said, ideally, but I'm just worried that hopefully people don't expect this to be dungeons or fractal level difficulty, even though it's saying it's potentially 5-man content, because it says 1 to 5. So
right. And I hope nobody's expecting like truly difficult content, because this is our living story stuff. It's not gonna be like crazy difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be kind of weird to see it. But I
mean,
that's
also a good point, since that really hasn't been the case for now. Maybe because they have done that it depends on who you ask, but I think they've increased difficulty through like maybe challenge modes and stuff in past living stories. So maybe they'll have something like that to make a 5-man dungeon experience of sorts. No evidence. So, though I hear it's popular to claim it without evidence, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah, that
Sorry,
would
could resist.
Yeah, we really shouldn't make claims without any evidence. So, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Any further thoughts on the dragon response missions? I mean, it's mostly just conjecture from us at this point, because we don't have any examples. But
I mean, from the trailers, if those are scenes from it, looks cool. Looks like there's a lot of enemies to fight off.
Yep.
And we're definitely going to need all those allies.
I feel like there was a transition pun going, but like I don't know.
No. Well, we need the allies, because Dayo's talking about the allied factions, which, as you already brought up, we've got the Order of the Crystal Bloom and the Ebon Vanguard coming in. You'll earn rewards for your efforts, and faction members can join your dragon response missions to bolster your defenses and healing. Word is sure to spread, so be alert for other factions ready to join your cause. So, part of me assumed, like, when I heard this, that, like, as you build rep effectively with these allied factions, that they're going to show up and do stuff. Part of me feels like there are going to be like tiers of success that happen through the response missions, and that you kind of have to grind up the levels with the rep to like gain the passive buffs or like act like whatever is going on to achieve like quote unquote full rewards out of the dragon response missions.
Now,
Just because you need the faction representation in your force going on.
well, I was gonna say, you saying that, especially referring to it as rep, first off, gave me a slight like no. Um, but that's interesting, and it made me think. Do you think it's gonna be personal based, or will it be maybe because we have in the past done community goal things, like maybe, and hopefully they gauge it right, so it's not done in a day, but maybe it'll be something like in a couple weeks, because we knocked so many invasions out, we get one of the like we maybe get the Order of the Crystal Bloom to join us, and then we work our way harder, and then we eventually get the. Or do you think it's going to be personal based?
I think it's going to be account based.
Okay.
Because it very much feels like an account based system. Like, I know people look at the idea of having a rep grind, and they're not a huge fan of it. I get that. I feel like it's not going to be as bad as it was in like World of Warcraft. Because unless they plan to take this allied faction system into the future, like in perpetuity, I don't really expect this to really do that much. Like, it's not going to be like some kind of interminable grind that we're going to have to come back day in and day out to hit, partway through this.
I'm wondering how achievements will work, because if they're like ones that you can go back and do, and then it's all about, do you keep those invasions happening, or do you?
Yeah, I was gonna.
They
That's a good
locked?
point, because if this is a living story, everything's been repeatable up to this point, which probably heavily hints at why it's 1 to 5, like a instance thing.
If it's instance content, yeah.
So yeah, I guess it could easily be account based, like you're
Yeah.
suggesting, Jim, and just because of that like thing. So yeah.
The thing I like is with the allied faction system, not specifically with the Crystal Bloom and the Ebon Vanguard, but like I'm happy to see the Crystal Bloom, because I feel like they really didn't get much of a spotlight going through the last season. Like, we know they existed, and that was great, but we didn't really get much. But then again, like, all things considered, they didn't really know much about themselves, because it was a brand new order forming around Kaith and Aurene. So they don't even really know all that much about themselves at this point. So this will be kind of nice to see that. I like the fact that they say we'll get rewards. So this is kind of an option to give like new armor and weapon skins coming out, like possibly new cooking recipes, like random stuff like that. This is a new vector for them to just kind of be able to slot like new rewards.
Crystal infused food.
Sure, why not?
I mean, we already have Bloodstone dust stuff.
Listen, Bloodstone dust does not have any culinary applications.
Except for Ascended.
No, you just make the oven out of that.
Maybe Crystal Bloom gives you a shiny shimmer. Food.
Temporary cosmetic effect buffs.
Chance to reflect. Unfortunately, not bears.
Find food to be shiny. I don't think that's healthy.
There's a lot of stuff that we eat in this game that isn't healthy. I mean, that's just kind of a fact here. But then the final big bullet point we've got here is we've got the new Dragon Slayer Mastery track. You unlock the first tier to collect Dragon Essence from enemies in Dragon Response missions to gain a temporary stat boost. When you unlock the second tier, you'll get extra materials while under the effect of a Dragon Boon, gain might from collecting Dragon Essence, and can purchase Dragon Slayer weapon recipes in the Eye of the North. I feel like this is kind of a like jack of all trades mastery track that they're throwing at us here.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be, is it like going to be the only thing moving throughout this last episode, or mastery
Yeah,
wise?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, but just because they've been doing it with the way station there that they have, so just add more stat boosts or different types of boosts during the response missions. Maybe um, like you don't get burned, for example, for if you do certain thing or trigger X amount of times. I don't know, something like that. And those add on different types of stat boosts, like or different boosts like that.
Interesting
Little,
that they're giving us stat boosts. Because, like,
I think it's marginal. I don't think it's like a huge one. Plus, if it's in instance content, it doesn't really matter.
yeah. It's just kind of odd on a certain level to me. Don't really know how to pin my thoughts to it. I mean, it's nice. Like, I don't mind the unlocking of, like, purchasing Dragon Slayer weapon recipes. Like, giving access to new skins and stuff. Again, like, I'm totally cool with any avenue to unlock more stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
I don't know. I feel like the rewards, putting them behind the master system, is actually a pretty decent way. Um, I don't know how many sets they're going to actually put out at this point, because there are a lot of sets nowadays. So I don't know how much inspiration they can get to make various different sets that don't really look the same at this point. But I mean, so far they've been all very unique to some degree. There's like some that have some overlap, obviously, but yeah, maybe they'll make Coden inspired, Tengu inspired types of things now, or something like that.
Yeah, maybe as we get them as allies, because it does
Yeah.
seem like like Jim was saying before, the new rewards you could get, Crystal Bloom, Crystal Bloom axe. So it seems like that, So yeah, maybe we'll get some.
I'm wondering if the Crystal Blue Max is like the meta reward for this chapter.
Yeah.
Because it's just like a singular thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I want my Tengu scythe, man. I had it back in Guild Wars 1.
Well,
It was my dervish weapon.
maybe when they reintroduce the Tengu, you can, run your Daredevil with your Tengu scythe.
I look
Yeah, you should
exactly
just-
like my
Just
Guild Wars
voice your thoughts on that. Arms and
Mm.
stuff.
But,
1. Wait,
what?
does it already exist?
Does it?
I don't remember.
No, there are, of all the
I know
sides
they did
that are,
some past Guild Wars 1 stuff, but I don't think.
They have a Tengu set?
Mm-mm.
I don't think they have a Tengu set.
No, there's no Tengu set for anything. There's one of the Dervish sides from Nightfall is in the game as a staff.
Yeah, the Sunspear one, I think it is.
But the new rewards they've been showing, we've been talking about them. The new Dragon Slayer weapons, new tier to the Stormcaller weapons, the Volcanic Stormcaller weapons, which I think you see them somewhere in here. They're like they've got the red and the smoke coming off of them, which look really cool. And then the Crystal Blue Max, and apparently more.
Yeah.
So
I might go for the axe.
Maybe it could be the rest of the Crystal Bloom set. I
I
think they would announce it that way, but
if the Crystal Bloom set is a thing, then I'm going to be getting those for my Guardian because that axe looks really goddamn cool.
I mean, and more. It could be anything. It could be the new World v World Alliance system.
No, you take that back.
And more. It could be anything.
Shush.
Everybody, get on the hype train.
That was a cheap shot, man. Damn.
Take that off the table.
Ever.
And then finally, before we get into the dissertation, voice acting for No Quarter and Jormag Rising will be added with this patch.
Which is awesome, because especially seeing this trailer, I mean, especially if you're a someone with interest in the lore, and a lot of people didn't want to play the previous ones due to no voice acting, which, yeah, I love you, chat. Which understandable. The game has been made around voice acting and it's been sorely missed. So, yeah, I'm glad that they're getting it all out in at least one go. Would have been probably nice for the people that didn't, maybe a little bit early, but hey, at least you're
I
getting
mean,
it all at least all together, not like delayed.
a lot of people waited, so it's like a lot of content for them to go through now. So that's good.
Yeah. I'm.
Expansion like content. They finally fulfill their promise.
I don't know.
You're just here to meme today, aren't you?
Yep.
All right.
Listen. I still call Iceberg Saga expansion like content. They didn't give us
Oh,
elite
I
specs,
like
but
it.
like, I always got mad when people were like busy dragging ArenaNet for that. Dayo, you want to do me a favor and throw your link in the notes?
Yeah, I'll give it to you guys so you can follow
Because
along.
I can't exactly click into Discord right now.
Got enough.
So
If you popped out of the thing.
final thoughts on no quarter or on chapter 1 Truce for the Icebrood Saga Champions.
I'm
finale?
interested to see how repeatable the Dragon Response missions are. I think that's the
Yeah.
main thing.
I feel like it's
Maybe
possible.
how far do you have to grind for whatever it is?
I feel like they might be adding these in instead of a new map, like specifically so they don't have to add a new map. So they're doing instance content like this, because like we're seeing stuff in this trailer like in Radisum, in Ebonhawk. People actually expect the axe skin to be in the gemstore. They don't announce gemstore stuff in Living Story
Yeah,
trailers.
that'd be pretty if they were.
They have literally never announced, like they have never called out gemstore stuff in Living Story trailers ever. And if that happens, QED, I won't be happy because that's kind of
Yeah,
gross.
and I could see the reason behind that. Like we were saying, is it's not like the Crystal Bloom set. It's just the axe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see where people are thinking, but yeah, Jim raises a good point that pretty sure they've never done that with a Living Story trailer of like, hey, look what you can buy coming up,
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be kind of gross. I wouldn't be a huge fan of that. But did you drop the link in the show notes?
In the show notes, my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, drop that in the show notes because like if I minimize the chat camera window I've got right now, then all the cameras will go all over the place. And I don't
What you
want to.
need is a 1440p monitor so you can have both on the screen.
I want a whole nother monitor so I could have a third monitor, but I need the desk for that first. But before we get away from this, and this is where I'm going to timestamp it from the discussion of the trailer and all the stuff, and then we're going to get into Dayo's theories here.
Yeah, I was gonna
Dayo,
say when you were saying final thoughts, I was like, well, I have my final.
you have
thoughts, and-
plenty of thoughts, but no, I'm just talking about what they like, the stuff that's going into the game. That's it. Like, and I'm with Age. I want to see how repeatable these dragon response missions are. It's going to be interesting to see how. I actually am kind of looking forward to more instance content. I'm not going to lie. Because this Wednesday, because this week was just very stressful. It was a very stressful week, and I don't know why. It just escapes me right now. But I did not do Zero to Hero on Wednesday, and I wanted to do Drizzlewood Coast, and trying to find a group for Drizzlewood Coast was like pulling teeth. Like it was just not happening.
Like if you were an elder dragon, someone pulled your one tooth.
Sure, let's go with that. But yeah, I'm interested in the instance content, but we'll get there when we get there. Dayo, you want to run us through your thoughts for the lore, because at least QED is here for this.
Yeah.
So,
Rapping,
are you
'cause-
ready, Age? Do you have a drink?
No, I'll get one. You can start.
Okay.
I'll say, go to the bathroom, get a drink. This hype train has no brakes.
This is not vodka. God, I don't think I can drink that much
It
vodka
might be
straight.
by the end of this. So yeah, chat, strap in, because while it is a outline, it kind of became 6 pages. So you saw in the trailer, Primordius versus Jormag, and we are somewhere in between. Looks like we're favoring Jormag because looks like we're allied with old Freezy McFreeze. I forget what his char name was. The dude that's in the cage.
Bangar.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, so interesting that Primordius is back and looks like he's attacking Tyria. At least his minions are. Still shocked. Are we seriously siding with Jormag? Because I even said, I think I said that when we first living store, or what was it, the pre-log or whatever, where it was like, or no, it was the first one where the weird creepy transform guy, and I was like, there were times where I was like, hey, maybe Jormag is making sense, and then it's like, wait a minute, what am I saying? Like, so yeah, it seems like we're definitely going that route. That it's like, and it could just be, the enemy of my enemy is my ally, but yeah, I'm curious if Jormag's actually getting in our head, or the maybe Jormag is genuine in that idea of wanting to help. I mean, saw with Path of Fire granted, well, that was a living story, but at the very end, Krakatork did shift to being a good dragon for the very last seconds. So maybe maybe Jormag is nice, and we made one nice dragon, we found another one, and we at the last second killed one of the nice dragons.
Well, that was a fragment of Kralkatorik's mind, but I mean,
yeah.
I see your point.
But it was the actual Kralkatork, whereas the other ones were like the magic corrupted versions or something. But it is interesting that maybe Primordius is back because of Jormag, because if you remember from the living story where we were dealing with Balthazar, we thought because of Omad's machine, we put both of them back to sleep. So I guess that's the interesting thing, is maybe we'll find out, like, why did Jormag come back? And maybe because Jormag came back, Primordius came back, because didn't Timey at least insinuate that they were somehow linked? Chat saying, just because you are a bad guy does not mean you are a bad guy. Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I think we've talked about this in the past, is in the reference to Avengers with who was the big baddie in Avengers? Snappy guy?
Thanos.
I think that was one thing we've always talked about, was you can see from his understanding that there is some things that make sense, but it's like, but you are doing something bad. So yeah, maybe it is one of those situations where it's like, I can see your logic and it makes sense, but it is still a bad thing. But yeah, I'm definitely curious if Primordius is
to respond to Hat in chat. Thank you, Zangief.
Oh yeah. Oh, is that what it was from? Okay. Sorry, I am in like
he's got the hat on.
Speculation lore mode.
He's got the hat on. Please continue.
But yeah, that brings up the question, because we're now seeing more of Primordius' minions. If Primordius is coming back, are we going to see more of its champions? Kind of like Jormag has the claws, Kralk has the shatterers, so on and so forth. Which there is one champion, I don't know if they have varying different ones, but there is one champion of Primordius that we've had experience with. The Great Destroyer, which, for people who don't know, was the antagonist of Guild Wars 1 Eye of the North, which conveniently we are very much stationed there with Arene, and the Eye of the North, that was the kind of the hub there as well. But yeah, then it starts to unravel. If the Great Destroyer returns, does that mean the Great Dwarf shall return as well? I mean, you even see in the trailer, we do see some of the dwarves that have taken on that form of the Great Dwarf. Because in Guild Wars 1, that's what you find out. That's how the dwarves become, as they said in Guild Wars 1, become the Great Dwarf. I'm curious about that. But they basically get like a hive mind consciousness. They can like they're all of one mind type thing to fight the minions of the Great Destroyer. But like I said, that was the prophecy that was foretold, was the Great Dwarf and the Great Destroyer were going to fight again, and whatever the outcome was going to change them forever. The race of the dwarves forever. And they say transform, which a lot of people I think at the time thought, oh, that means they're going to be killed, or that like that's the end of them. But as we can see, they kind of just transformed into a different type of entity, but are still kind of there, which is really interesting. But yeah, you definitely see that there are dwarves fighting in the allied faction section. So, but yeah, my question is, are they even the Great Dwarf? Because yeah, while they do say that in Guild Wars 1, know that most Elder... Thank you, chat. That is definitely one thing I do point out later, that as I was typing things up, I was like, wait, this is called champions. What are literally the Elder Dragons, or generals, I guess you could call them, called champions? So yeah, that is definitely a thing to, interestingly, to latch onto. But yeah, my question then proposed was, are they even the Great Dwarf? Because I'm wondering, are they a product of a minion type thing similar to the Sylvari? I mean, they performed a ritual to become of one mind, an extension of the Great Dwarf, if you will. While even though in Guild Wars 1 they do say they have become the Great Dwarf, maybe they are just like I said, an extension. They're working to be the action of the Great Dwarf's mind. Kind of like Mordremoth with the Sylvari. They basically let their god or their creator take control over them. Similar to what happened with the Sylvari that decided to let Mordremoth in. Also, interestingly enough, they were supposedly, as far as we know, forged or created on Anvil Rock. So they were created from a central spot similar to Sylvari and their trees. We're gonna find out that they were a minion, which you're probably thinking, what kind of dragon are they attached to? We'll get to that, but that'll come later. Like I said, I don't think all this is gonna happen in the story, but I think this is gonna be like this, and then like continuing on. I'm Hail Marying here, going all the way. But like I was saying before, the prophecy from the Tome of Rubicon, which was the one that foretold the dwarves' end or transformation against the Great Destroyer, it basically does say, it also provides specific details from a final conflict between the dwarves and minions of the Great Destroyer, who will swarm up from the bowels of the earth and spread across the world. The battle between the Great Dwarf and the Great Destroyer is fated to play out once again, it seems. The tome does not foretell the entirety of the outcome, nor predict a victor. It only mentions that the dwarves will be forever transformed by this final battle. Well, problems with prophecies, and I'm not talking about Guild Wars 1, love that. They can apply to so much. So we thought that was the case in Guild Wars 1, Eye of the North. But it does sound a lot like what we have already seen from this trailer. We're seeing minions of Primordus come up and rise up across Tyria. So the dwarves are back again. Could something more happen to the dwarves? Could they maybe return to their human or dwarf-like form? I don't know.
Flesh. From stone.
Yeah, flesh. Good. What's chat saying? What if we got it all wrong and Primordius is actually neutral good and Jormag is just playing us to off a rival? That is true. I don't think I went with like that, but I do explore that too. So, um, but yeah, that's kind of my thought about the Tome of Rubicon and like, are the doors going to retransform, or maybe this will be their destruction, possibly. Like, yeah, maybe this is what the tome has foretold, and the other one was just a similarity. But kind of rewinding to, if we are fighting between the two, elder dragons, what my question is, what is the end result? This does lead us to one more elder dragon, the deep sea dragon, which a lot feels heavily tied to Cantha and the expansion that we know of. And I think we joked about this before, the expansion's name is End of Dragons. So will we actually only have Aurene left if we is our goal to eliminate both Jormag and Primordius, and then be like, well, let's take out the last dragon, we only have one? Or like we said, maybe it will be End of Dragons permanently, like we have Aurene left after we defeat Bubbles, and maybe she just helps us rid of all of the other dragons, only to eliminate herself in an ultimate sacrifice again. But my question is, could we take it figuratively before, like we were saying, could it just be End of Dragons as in end of an age, end of an era? Will Jormag and Primordius die at the end, or will they be transformed, slumbered, deactivated, however you want to word it? It will still be the end of the dragons, just like I said, figuratively more than literally, which could mean Aurene lives, which lots of people like, and just kind of does what she did at the end of the, how do they refer it? The first Living Story saga, where she was just like, hey, we did a good job, I transformed, I'm out. She eventually came back, but maybe she'll do it permanently, or permanently in the sense of,
I kind of like QED's point here.
Okay.
So without knowing, like, we haven't seen Primordius active for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And we've got a whole bunch of other dragon energy flowing around the world, so that's
dragon and god energy.
Yeah, that's a bit of an unknown there. So good point, QED.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe that's why Jormag has been more sentient, is because of all the other dragon energy, and maybe Primordius has that. I'm curious, because Timey really did make a point when we put Primordius to sleep, that her calculations were like, oh, it's also happening to Jormag up north. So it seems like there's somehow linked, maybe due to the connection Balthazar was doing with Omad's machine. So yeah, maybe I'm see, with both my points, I'm really feeling like it's, we either kill both Jormag and Primordius, or we figure out how to make them go back to sleep, deactivate them somehow to get, like, I don't feel like we can do one or the other at this point. Yeah, the machine is gone, but the damage has already happened. Like, they were already magically linked because of Balthazar shooting the beams across the world. But like chat was saying earlier, what can we find from the Champions release page that was last week? I know you guys talked about it, but first interesting thing, like chat said, this thing's literally called Champions, which is what the generals are called. But I was also looking at the names of each of them. So we have Truce, Power, Balance, and Judgment. So definitely seems like with this one, Truce, looks like we are striking a deal with Jormag. You even hear, what's Freezy McFreeze's name?
Bangar.
I want to say Rage something or other.
Ruinbringer.
Okay, so I was going with the last name in my mind. But I think you even hear his dialogue of him saying, like, or Jormag talking through him, and we're definitely striking a deal. You see him fighting potentially next to, like, allied with us. I mean, it looks like he's fighting enemies with us, so so I think that's how it's going to play out, is just this whole truce thing of, like, see, we can work together. Maybe Jormag is on our side. I think with power, maybe this is where Jormag starts to go, hey, I think the best strategy here is to try to give me as much power as possible to help us defeat Primordus, because clearly this is the enemy. It's rising up and taking us all out, and we're like, hey, oh, hey, well, hang on. Why are we jumping to that? Like, we start to become, well, maybe we can't fully trust Jormag. And then maybe balance, we try to explore more of the idea of the all, and we need to look towards balance of the system, try to figure out how we do that, which has always been the kind of driving force of like why we can't just kill all the dragons. And then I think judgment, we believe we found the balance, or a theory of it, and that we must keep Primordus and Jormag alive in a sense due to being linked, like we were kind of discussing, and they hopefully hold the other magics and balance each other out. If they get out of line, battling back and forth, because they'll ideally be the two opposing forces. If they basically get out of line, Aurene, who's kind of been this power of an Elder Dragon, but isn't a specific element. Like, maybe she is the balance that's going to hopefully keep these two forces in check. But ideally, that does leave one last outlier, the Deep Sea Dragon. So it's like, well, because I feel like that's how they're going to end it, is you don't want to end what Guild Wars 2 was all about, of fighting these dragons, by going, hey, let's try to tame this one. We want to, this is a video game. We want to knock its socks off.
Smash
so I think
dragon.
That's what, exactly. So I think by the end, we're like, hey, we found the balance. Now we just got to get that one last one out of there. It's really screwing up the equation. So I think at that point, we find this kind of weird alliance with Primordius and Jormag, where they maybe get to live because they're more intelligent and sentient, kind of like how QED is potentially saying with all the other dragon power in them, is maybe they test us, because that's the weird thing. Judgment doesn't necessarily just mean, it could mean a test of something to just see if you're deemed worthy of. So maybe they kind of test us to see if we could potentially take out this deep sea dragon, because hopefully they have some kind of idea of what we might have in store for the deep sea dragon. So maybe we get like maybe a little teaser too of like maybe some of the enemies that we'll see with I almost called it factions, but End of Dragons or something. But yeah, so that's that portion.
Do you want to take a breather? We could weigh in a little bit. I don't know if you have anything to say, Age.
Yeah, that'll be a good idea to weigh
Go
in.
ahead.
I mean, we're
wow, you put a lot of thought into this. And I know when you started,
there's still more.
Like, thing is, guys, I know when he started working on this, and I didn't realize he had put this much into it, because this is just an outline that he sent to me. It's still 6 pages, but the words he is speaking is expanding on the outline, and it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, a lot of this was initial stuff that was hitting me as I think it like was revealed to everyone, like announced. So I think I had this done or typed out for that, like, whatever, like, so.
Yeah.
But I also feel bad because then I've seen like, Wooden Potatoes thing, Kroof, like a lot of people doing it, and I want to support, my fellow content creators, but I'm also like, I'm not gonna watch it because I don't want that to somehow influence. But granted, I haven't touched this just for reason's sake since then, so people can't be like, oh, you clearly copied so and so. I honestly don't know what other people have done, but I'm curious to see after all this.
It's a lot. Let's just put it that way. So, okay, this is point B.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you guys wanted to talk any more about it, because this starts to go beyond even this living story. So, like I said, I was just going for the Hail Mary.
Do you got anything to comment on at this point, Age?
More like just the End of Dragons bit. the meaning of that is kind of what's going to drive Guild Wars 2 content in the future, I think, because the main caveat has always been dragons, and with the next expansion having a title of End of Dragons, I do agree that we're going to end up with either one or none. So there's a whole bunch of different ways they can go down. I personally think it's going to go like they're gonna kind of just do the god route and then just like make them leave Tyria type of deal. Like I think Orion's gonna be like the last one left, and then she's gonna leave Tyria. I don't know what that means for Tyria as a whole, magic wise. I think that's one of the interesting aspects of it. And I also don't know what it means moving forward, because if ArenaNet wants to keep supporting Guild Wars 2 for like, I don't know, the next couple of years, will we have what we had in Guild Wars, which is like for those who know, in Guild Wars, the original Guild Wars, we had like these not expansions, but like these mini campaigns. So there was one in Prophecies called War in Krita. And
Okay,
and there was one in Factions. I don't remember the name of that one.
Winds of Change.
Winds of Change, that's it. So they might go that route where they, I don't know, have.
But Age, we had one for Nightfall, right? Right?
Yeah.
There's a story there that I'm not aware of.
Well, by that point, I think they were so geared towards
that
Guild Wars 2 that they never came out with the. That's why I think a lot of people were interested in Joko, because it was gonna talk about that kind of stuff, I believe.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, just like if End of Dragons literally means we're not going to fight dragons anymore. I wonder if they're going to go that route. I wonder if they're going, or they're like living story wise, they'll just go that route, or they'll go that route and make a new game type of deal. I don't know, but I mean that can buy you at least 3 to 5 years. I think more so probably on the 3 end, but I don't know if they're gonna make a new game. But
yeah, it's saying Guild Wars 1 is the intro arc to the franchise. Guild Wars 2, in their opinion, is the Dragon arc. Man, it seems like it's arcs all the way up, because we have like the living story arcs, then we had the saga arcs. Now we're having the game arc. Now we're gonna have like,
yeah. So it's gonna be. I think that's what interests me the most. Like after Dragons,
yeah.
What's next? I mean, there's a whole bunch of lore in the game that you can like definitely expand upon. But I don't know, like revitalize Nightmare Courts, the Inquest, do something crazy. Yeah, I don't know, but like it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I can definitely think that would be an interesting thing, because if you want to consider mirroring it, because they've talked about how the dragons rose up prior to the gods, and I'm assuming all the other entities of Tyria type thing to do all the consume the world and go to sleep last time. Well, as far as we know, we had the 6 gods, but they say they were before the gods. Well, we do know that there were, and they were like, as we talk about Abaddon, we do know that he had a predecessor, like he had someone before him. Like we had other, like, so that honestly, you talking about that, the part in between is kind of interesting, because that probably sounds like one of the most chaotic things of like, yeah, what entities are going to try to step in to claim power and dominance over Tyria? Or so yeah, I don't necessarily think they should move it 250 years ahead. I think the immediate like vying for power might be pretty interesting as well.
I think it'd be cool if there were continental wars,
like giant factions.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. Like, you have Cantha, Alona, and Tyria, and like now that I think it'd be kind of cool if we had like these continental wars. I don't know what would trigger it. I figured it'd be us that would kind of inadvertently trigger it. That'd be kind of cool.
I do like that there are 3, like you said, dominant locations. Maybe this could lead into where, not immediately, but where the World v World thing could go the route of like maybe that's how they put it on like a, and I hate to say it, but like, you know, kind of like what they did with Guild Wars 1, where it basically takes care of itself. Like maybe that's the final thing of like, okay, this is going to be predominantly pushed out as a World v World thing, and you guys are fighting, you know, vying for the who's the better continent type thing after everything's said and done. Could be cool.
Fractal or mysticism setting. I don't think that would be the way they would go, just because it's very open in that regard. There's no flow to an actual story, and most MMOs like have like a core story that people can follow.
And Chad is right. Wasn't one of the gods and ascended mortal. I mean, technically, 2 of them, because Grenth, I mean, was half, but
Was
took
a
out.
demigod, yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
took
yeah,
Doom's
Cormyr,
power.
which I'm assuming is the one you're talking about from Guild Wars 1, definitely did.
Yeah.
From pure human, unless we find out somewhere in the story. No, apparently her father was 3 generations from a god or something. Like, but no, as far as we know, no connection to.
Suddenly we found out Cormyr was secretly a demigod the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah. So and that's
cool.
yeah, that's kind of like why I was saying it would be so interesting. You have all this influx of energy. It seems like enough energy that can be consumed could turn anybody into these very powerful gods. So, yeah, how are we going to be trying to become a god, or trying to stop other people from becoming gods?
Well, that was one of the things we talked about a while ago when we were dealing with just talking about story of the
Balthazar.
gods and Balthazar and all that. Is that
Yeah.
like the gods of Tyria are just sufficiently powerful entities. They're not like gods in the monotheistic real world sense of this unknowing or all-knowing omniscient entity. Like they're people effectively with their own hopes and dreams and fears and shit. So
Tyria and Alona are not united entities, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm not
Like
sure.
as like politically, yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
there are
Well, like I
large
said, this could.
spanning political entities though, and also the fallout of Joko leaving, there would be splintered factions. Yes, but can you imagine? I can't remember the cartel guy's name in
Oh,
the
yeah,
first
the
map
guy
of
that
Path of
basically runs
Fire.
the casino.
Yeah,
essentially, I would say just bring back Guild Wars,
like literal guild wars.
literal Guild Wars, and like you can
Yeah.
have it within each continent. Everyone just vying for power or something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool if they can explore that route.
Yeah,
I mean, it kind of goes into part B a little bit with the allied factions stuff.
well, that's a perfect segue.
Yeah.
It's not a Dayo segue, but it's a perfect segue.
Hey. So yeah, allied factions. Interesting that they are referring to them as factions. I mean, granted, you know, it's interesting because we're leading into the expansion of End of Dragons, but that area was called factions in Guild Wars 1. You know, what if this does lead up to, you know, cool, we have allies and we deal with this problem. Maybe the story is they help us go to Cantha. They help us deal with the dragon. Maybe they help us if it is still, because in Winds of Change, like Age was talking about, we kind of put a xenophobic ruler into power in the area of Cantha, and it's all about like, you kind of get a hint of it with the fractal that they put out of like, you can hear in that guy's notes of like, we're wiping out people now. Like, what the heck are we doing? Like, you know, he kind of has this like realization that it kind of, while it was a noble idea at first, it started to, you know, kill anybody that was different. It's like, no, that's not good. So, and we know that's what made the Tengu flee, was the xenophobic kind of emperor. So if that's still intact in that mentality, what if we do bring all these allied factions and us, and we dealt with the dragon, and we maybe in the living story or something that follows or something, we deal with this political power of this rule. But after that's all said and done, even like on a minor scale of what we were talking about with the magic of Tyria, what if we see that with, okay, after this guy's been dealt with, maybe all these allied factions want to lay claim to the territory. And then we all of a sudden have the faction wars have returned to Cantha. Just not as the Kurzik and the Luxons, but now maybe it is clearly the Tengu have claim to it in a sense. I mean, you know, maybe the dwarves are like, well, hey, we lived underground across all of Tyria. We have some kind of claim to it. And maybe, you know, I don't know, we'd have to figure out different one, you know, that's what they want to do. But Tengu versus Kappas, yeah. The ultimate war.
Wait, we have
what
Kappas?
Side are you on?
Yeah, they're
yeah.
Oh god. We don't need a meme faction.
Everybody, that would win, especially in this day and age. But it kind of even maybe something they play around with this story as we learn more about maybe the all and like how the dragons play a part, maybe even how the gods, the realms, maybe the other dimensions like chat was talking about. Speaking of alliances themselves, may reveal something. Something else might be revealed that's interesting. Who got us ready for all this? Who prepared us for a massive invasion? Who tested different factions to see what would work and what wouldn't? None other Scarlet Briar. And I still go back to that the blueprint to get the bladed back piece. It says on there, Kaith, someday you'll see Tyria needs me. So maybe this is a little bit of like a redemption story thrown in there to go. Kaith, kind of like we were saying with like villains before, Kaith actually had good intentions in the most roundabout, messed up way, but she also wasn't right in the head, as we could, you know, plainly see. But yeah, maybe she.
You started saying Kaith.
Yeah, he meant Scarlet.
Oh, did I say Kaith? Oh, sorry.
I mean, there were points in time where Kaith meant well and she was doing bad things, so it's not
very true. Yeah. She thought she was doing best for the egg and all that stuff and her love and that. But yeah, I think that could be interesting that maybe we get like hints of Scarlet, so of like as a redemption story, not returning. I'm not, you know, that's only reserved for one character in this universe, and you know who that is.
Yeah, Scarlet.
No. Don't waste it on Scarlet. But yeah, honestly, like I was saying, like what about like the far future? Like, and that's what I was interested in of maybe learning more about the all with the dragons and the balance. You know, I referred to the dwarves as possible minions since they share very similar qualities as the Sylvari did, as we're seeing it play out. So I asked the question, what dragon do they belong to? None. What? How could it be none?
None.
Or at least we haven't dealt with it. Maybe that's a possibility. I really hate them to be like, there's a 7th mystery dragon. But like, I mean, granted, we have created one, but
I actually, like, you saying that makes me wonder, like, the dwarves becoming, like, doing the right of the great dwarf to fight Primordius, and I sit here wondering, is like, what if the dwarves end up being Primordius dragon minions?
Wait, they would turn into Primordius's minions to fight themselves?
Well, you said you make the
yeah
comparison between the Sylvari and the dwarves, while like the Sylvari fought against Mordremoth.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess
So-
that could have been an early thing of like an early allude to that. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. The Great Dwarf is a dragon champion that behaves like Clint. I'm getting there, buddy. I'm getting there. Trust me. I just want to use my stone thumb. I know. I've been saying it too. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't throw anything away because it could mean something. Yeah, and I agree. I think the tome was misinterpreted. Like I said earlier, that's the problem with prophecies. You could probably apply them to a lot of situations. I mean, who's like in real life, the Nostradamus? Like a lot of people are like, this means he predicted this. It's like, yeah, but you could also apply that to 12 other things. So, keep it vague and you're a future seer.
Pretty much, yeah.
I believe there will be content in the future for Guild Wars 2. Oh my god. Anyway,
Secret
sorry.
rock dragon. Thank you, Mofongo. The secret 7th dragon. Rock.
But kind of go along with the dwarves. They have acted kind of the protectors of Tyria itself. Maybe, just maybe, this is Mother that Kralkatork talked about. Kind of like Mother Earth, Mother Tyria, but maybe, jeez, my head is swimming. Maybe it created a system in that it uses kind of like, humans, we apply our own systems to other things to make understandings of it. A lot of people affiliate that with God's intelligent design type thing, so on and so forth. Maybe this is what this mother entity had for Tyria, the dragons, the balancing of things so maybe Mother created the dragons to create balance in Tyria itself, which leads to a point of Ogden did say in one of the living stories about the races, they all have a bit of the all correct. Omad's machine did show a vision of the eternal alchemy that showed like the different spheres, and I think we've had it confirmed that the spheres lighting up were the different dragons waking up, and we had that center bit that showed things crashing, like at the time showed Mordremoth crashing into it and corrupting the world. An interesting thing is a similar thing gets shown in the Derman Priory on the ceiling that shows the names of the different elder dragons in the spheres. And at the center shows Tyria itself. So maybe if you combine the two structures, because maybe one's the spiritual or energy of the world and one's the physical representation of it. So, but if you combine the two, you get 7 structures. So yeah, what if Tyria is the center entity that can create things as well? Maybe they created the dwarves, and maybe the general for Tyria as the protector of Tyria was the Great Dwarf, was all that stuff. But which also another maybe throwback to show some love and understanding to Scarlet. What if she saw it all, literally the all, in the Omad's machine and whatnot? She did go around and got training from all the other races and stuff, so maybe she could pick these apart. Once again, showing why we needed Scarlet. She was the evil that we needed in a weird, messed up way. But yeah, she found 6 factions. I mean, if you look at her plans, she found 6 factions of varying styles that knew how to battle different elements, i.e. the dragons. What of the 7th? Well, what else was there in her alliance? She had the Aether Blades, which were Asuran and like kind of the humans and human like the pirates, but there was a lot of humans and Norn. But she also had the Dredge and the Char, which were kind of like fire and frost. Then they had the Sylvari, and then the Crate, which were the water. What's her 7th? Clockwork. She was the mother of a creation. She built just like Tyria built. She was the center for this test. Did we see the logo in the trailer? I mean, I saw the logo. Maybe I didn't, notice it. So I'm definitely curious now.
Let us know where, Mofongo, and I can find the timestamp and pause it there.
Tyria, the planet is the dragon. Well, and I think that might be the thing is we think that it might be the entity or whatever, because maybe it doesn't have to be a dragon. It could just be the energy and like everything underneath of it. Like the Great Dwarf might have been her champion. Because it is interesting that the Great Dwarf wasn't designed to fight Primordius. It was designed to fight the Great Destroyer, which is a champion. So it didn't even fathom the, go after the big evil. Because, I mean, the dwarves did exist during that time. Why didn't they write down about, hey, the dragons, watch out for them? But going back to like Scarlet of, she was the mother of the clockwork machines. And it is kind of interesting. Cogs build upon cogs working together to create life. Sounds like the eternal alchemy in the All's diagram. How the structures of dragons work. And maybe Tyria itself, how, kind of, I mean, we saw with the eternal alchemy, it's kind of like an atom or something where, they have to exist in some form to create this balance or this push and pull of the world. So that's why I was leaning so heavily earlier towards maybe we do keep dragons in, at least 2 of the dragons in place to harness the magic. But if one gets maybe too powerful or something, maybe Arene has to step in, which we'll kind of get to that of. I think Arene and the Order of the Crystal Bloom are maybe going to be the new guardians of, that replace the dwarves. But like I said, if the dwarves are or were the caretakers of Tyria, maybe the Great Dwarf was kind of a champion, kind of like how chat was getting to, of mother, like the Great Destroyer is with Primordius, with Arene breaking the cycle of dragons dedicated to those spheres of what if she is that of the center, which will maybe she'll become the representative of Tyria or the mother or whatever. Maybe this is why it kind of like Age was talking about earlier with the in-between portion, like Guild Wars Beyond, which and some of the other aftermath stuff. We actually have dwarves protecting Glint's egg offsprings, and it's well known. It's well described in the Zephyrite's literature too. And basically, the Zephyrite's took over the dwarves. I forget what their faction was called that was protecting. Keeping Glint safe and all that stuff. But so the Zephyrite's kind of took over that role for a while to keep the egg safe, just because the dwarves were clearly failing. But Scarlet didn't create the watchwork stuff though. She just stole it from, but we have her workshops show that was building on them.
She Steve Jobs did. She took what the Crichton royalty had and she twisted it, changed it, improved it with stuff she learned from the other factions that she was allying with. So maybe the baseline she didn't create, but she certainly created something completely new off of it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that necessarily invalidates your point about her being a creator type. So
yeah, but going back to with the dwarves, so what if now Arene's corrupted? And I know people always. I remember originally people got mad at me when I said the Sylvari were the corrupted until Mordremoth. But I mean that is kind of what the Order of the Crystal Bloom is. I mean we literally see Kaith in the Living Story get taken over by Arene's thing. It's a good corruption, but it still is of that kind of similar to the right of the Great Dwarf as a willing thing. But yeah, that raises the question, will the Order of the Crystal Bloom be maybe the new caretakers to take Tyria into the next age, past the dragon stuff. But yeah, so ultimately that's my question. Are they like whatever the Great Dwarf was with the dwarves? Like, is that what Arene is? So that kind of encapsulates how I see it panning. And honestly, after that, kind of like what we hinted at before, that's what made me definitely interested of if they continue with Guild Wars 2 and lead straight into the aftermath of the world, I'm cool with that. With Guild Wars 3, I hope they don't skip over to whatever the next world entity, like, oh, God, different gods are back. It's like, well, how that happened? You'll find out with lore and stuff. It's like, I'm definitely interested in what happens in the aftermath, because what we saw previously was that weird middle bit where these godlike creatures or entities were trying to take as much power as possible. I think that's going to be definitely cool potential thing. But yeah, I did see Kaith in the trailer for the Living World stuff. Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought we saw has Aurene corrupted anyone besides Kaith?
We don't know. Kaith is the only person that we have seen actively blessed by Aurene, which I think it would necessarily be considered more like a blessing curse, kind of like gods have their chosen, because we've basically said that the dragons are on par with deities in terms of power. So we say corruption, and also thank you for the follow, Orion Lightbound. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's the touch of an entity that has the ability to grant power. So it's possible that other members of the Crystal Bloom have received this blessing, but like I said earlier when we were talking about the allied factions, we don't know all that much about the Crystal Bloom as a whole, which now we get all the stuff coming from, like, with the Crystal Bloom coming as an allied faction here, I'm hoping we get more information on them so that we can understand that. And maybe, just maybe, Aurene has been handing out her corruption for stuff.
And like, yeah, like chat's saying, blasting / corruption is a glorious subjective kind of. Yeah, that's the one thing I always talked about with the core story, where we take Calibog with Traherne, and he helps us cleanse ore, but we just see all these vines start spewing out of the artesian well that's like very magically in depth, and I'm like, and this is before we knew about Morgemoth. I was like, and that's why I was like, if they are dragon minions because they couldn't be corrupted by other dragons, which was very dragon minion like, I was like, this doesn't bode well that we just, But yeah, we looked at it as we're saving it, but I was like, no, we just put a different corruption in there.
It's like, did we really?
Yeah,
know? Did we really?
Well, luckily, the Mesmers of Tyria time locked everything.
Yeah.
I have a question. So we know that when we kill a dragon, a dragon property goes to the other ones.
Conservation of energy. The magic doesn't go nowhere.
Yeah.
It's so. I guess my question is, there's essentially 4 dragons in Tyria right now. There's Aurene, there's Bubbles, there's Primordius, there's Stormag. So each of those dragons has the magical energy of, who was it? Zaitan, Morgemoth, and I think that's it.
Zaitan, Morgemoth, Kralkatorrik, and Balthazar.
Kralkatorrik.
Yeah, technically Balthazar as well.
Technically Balthazar too?
Because remember when we were fighting Kralkatorrik, 3 things appeared. It was like when he did his one blast before Aurene, in that episode where Aurene, as a young Aurene, jumped in front and
absorbed the energy.
Okay.
But yeah, I think when I was doing its blast, it quickly showed like a little image of not Kralkatorrik, Zaitan, Morgemoth, and then the last one was Balthazar. So
okay.
And that's, I think, what the important thing is. It's not just dragon abilities that are in there. It's
so
just
dragon
all magic.
And all magic. Okay.
Remember, that's their goal, is to consume all magic in Tyria and then supposedly go to sleep. So it's not like it's just looking for dragon magic.
Yeah. So it's interesting how... I just find it interesting, though, how kind of like the telepathy of Morgemoth is kind of like the main way the dragons have been communicating with people as of, like, Jormag's been using it constantly. And I'm wondering if Primordius will as well, or is just because because when we the biggest thing that we fought was the Great Destroyer that was related to Primordius, and there was no real reason other than they were just invading Tyria, and it was like something.
Primordus has been shockingly silent for the entire history of Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, so we don't really have anything to go off of.
I mean, his
we put
minions
him-
have been a little bit present, like
Yeah.
in the core game, but also in some of the Living Story islands, especially when they started to get infused.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but we
you
put
haven't
him.
really seen
Yeah, we
anything
put him
big from him.
to sleep one time in that season 3, I think it was, before Path of Fire. So I'm kind of interested to see. I'm kind of interested if we get that like Thanos reasoning from him. It's like the world needs to be purged in fire or something like that, you know. And I'm also wondering what other abilities that they have, because what was Krakatork's main unique feature that he had? He had like
I mean, couldn't he crystallize any?
That's
Like,
the
it
crystal.
was
that's how he turned things.
crystallization, yeah, but
I thought he was mind as well.
Well, he was mined because Mordremoth died, and he
Yeah.
absorbed an aspect of Mordremoth's power.
I think it's because I think more like Mordremoth, the mind thing, it opens a whole gap of storytelling from the dragon's perspective. So I'm just very curious about how that's going to work. We're gonna get
Trying to see
flaming
if there's like
ice
a list of
shards
like what their
rain down upon
powers.
us. Yeah. But yeah, it's just interesting. It was like, because I don't know. It feels like Jormag's gonna play us into killing Primordus to get Primordus's ability, which I don't know. It just seems like Primordus is just like overwhelming strength.
Okay, apparently, according to the wiki, Krakatork's domains are Crystal and Fury.
Crystal and Fury. That would explain
And-
Primordus being pissed, yeah.
Yeah, and Primordius is Fire and Conflagration.
Conflagration.
Conflagration. Yes.
Huh.
I know how to read.
Yeah. I want, because for me, I'm going like the alpha omega route, and when I do that, it's like omega route is fire, alpha is ice related. So I'm wondering if Primordius is the omega, going the omega bit, and he's like wants to purge like Tyria and make it a new type of deal, like going the Thanos route. And then Jormag wants that ability to like consume, I guess, but it would be like ice fire instead of like fire, and it would be, the world would be anew with ice instead of like, I wonder if that's kind of like I wonder if they're at odds because of that reasoning, like whoever, like they're both kind of like evenly matched right now, but if one dies over the other, the other one has more control about how to proceed about taking, like,
My end of the world is better. No, my end of the world is better.
yeah. I don't
Actually,
know.
looking at the domains, I only can guarantee one thing. At the end of this living story, because we're fighting, it's Primordius versus Jormag, Fire and Ice. By the end, Steam. It comes to Steam.
Oh my god.
Okay. I tried. That's why they delayed it. They're like, oh, this is perfect.
Oh my god. I hate it and I love it.
My left rib cage hurts for some reason. I don't.
I have that effect on people. It's my domain of power.
Puns.
I don't know. It feels. It's just, I don't know. It's just interesting how all these dragon powers just go into like get absorbed by the other dragons, and they manipulate it in their own unique way. So I'm just wondering if that's kind of like why Jormag's coming in, because like I think just Primordius is royally pissed. That's why I think. But I could be wrong, and he could like communicate with us like later on in the story. But yeah.
Well, and the other side of things too is that as the dragons absorb the other dragons' abilities, there's also the chance that their aspects will shift and mutate. So we're not necessarily like we saw like undead or death touched or vine touched stuff showing up, but that doesn't necessarily mean that to say if we kill Jormag that we're gonna get ice brewed versions of other dragon minions. It's possible that some of the other things that
And I think it's also important to note when we go into Kralkator's mind, there is like these corrupted, like this like separate corrupted energy attached to everything. So that could also be bleeding into Jormag and Primordius, and I don't know. Maybe Arene now is affected by it. Who like
that's good, Mafago. I like that.
That's pretty good. But yeah, I think like each dragon has their main element. They'll retain their main element, but they'll gain aspects of the other elements. So, like just with Mordramoth alone, like the mind thing, like all of them can gain access to that, right, and communicate with other races. I think with Zaitan, just the power of reanimation is actually really strong.
his was Death and Shadow.
So yeah, and it's just with Kralkator, I think the Fury part is the most interesting bit, just because like I think Primordius was like angry, just like Mofongo mentioned, just with the added fury of like that magic coming in. It's like, man, I'm going to hurt everybody. I think it's interesting that Jormag doesn't have that aspect, or it's like taking, or Jormag's super pissed, but taking that methodical approach.
Mm-hmm.
I find that kind of be the interesting bit, because like it seems like each dragon has a different route of how they attack.
Well, it certainly makes me wonder how we're going to see Primordius attack here. Like, I kind of like Dayo's idea behind the, what if we're getting played against Primordius and Primordius would actually be the better person to, like, work with? But
Yeah. But it's interesting because like I think only Mordramoth and Jormag have been the methodical ones so far. The other dragons have just been invade, destroy type of deal. I think Kralkator was just angry.
driven, I believe, like, if we're calling him the Dragon of Fury, I would say that on top of that, like his standard aspects, getting all that excess magic on top of that was probably what pushed him over the edge.
Yeah.
So
It kind of made me wonder why what Zaitan's story was like, because like he had, or they had just like the death and reanimation, they just wanted to invade because like they're natural, they're perceived as like dragons are perceived as like natural disasters, I think. Or
well, we've basically come to the conclusion that the dragons have their job, right? That was the whole point of the cycle, is that the dragons have their job to reabsorb magic, fall asleep, leak magic into the world, wake up, do the same thing again. Zaitan,
Yeah, unless there's some new revelation, but as far as we know.
Zaitan was the first dragon we dealt with, and does a god deign to explain its plans to ants? Like, Zaitan had literally no reason to speak to any of the races of Tyria. The only time we ever spoke to anything that was a dragon minion of Zaitan, it wasn't Zaitan speaking through them, it was them speaking for Zaitan.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hat brings up a good point that Jormag was already influential, like even with the Sons of Svanir and things like that. Yeah, it
Oh
makes
yeah,
sense.
his domains are ice and persuasion, whereas, and I think that's like it feels like there's an overlap to that because yeah, Mordramoth is plant and mind, but yeah, I think especially when we look at how we dealt with Mordramoth, it was going into his mind and attacking it. I think Mordramoth had the power to go into your brain and create a world, like maybe change your memories, change like a super illusion, whereas Jormag persuasion kind of just convinced you. But I
Mordremoth,
think now maybe Jormag potentially could, persuade you, but give you these thoughts and stuff that makes you just think, oh yeah,
Mordremoth dominated. Jormag convinces.
yeah.
So
That's pretty interesting. All right. That was my little thing I wanted to interject with.
no, it's a good point. So
Chat saying their theory in the final chapter of Champions will come down to Jormag versus Primordius. And just as Timey says, we are all doomed because they are so even matched. Steve raises from the ocean and stomps them both. I mean, it'd be nice to see like an awesome dragon fight. A massive elder dragon fight. But yeah, it's definitely curious to see where this story goes. Like I said, I don't even want to know what I'm going to think about after it launches because I already got that from like what, a minute, and how long was the trailer? Like, but Steve pulls a Ugia and calms them. I feel like that, is that a Pokemon or something?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, I don't know.
It's the white kind of like flying water type that has which one was it from? I know
Lapras, that's a water type.
What was it from?
Do you think we're gonna get Lapras as a dragon minion for Bubbles?
Oh, it's a psychic flying? I thought it was a water type.
One from Silver, they said.
There we go.
But
I thought it was Silver.
But yeah, I'm definitely curious. And if you're watching this, on YouTube or whatnot, let us know if you got any like Hail Mary theories, or just, you don't have to go as Hail Mary as I did. Heaven forbid, I don't know if there was a comment, like a character limit on YouTube comments, but reach it if you tried.
Just add multiple ones.
what are we doing about the character limit on YouTube comments?
No, I was just saying, if people are watching this on YouTube, definitely let us know if your theories or if you have any Hail Mary theories. But then I was like, I don't know if YouTube can handle that amount of characters.
I think my Hail Mary is that after Dragons will go back to Guild Wars.
I'm okay with that. And thank you for the follow.
Yeah, like I said, it would make sense or something along those lines, just because, like I said, the big entity threats are coming out. Like, what if like something tries to take a place of the god, like vying for that power? So yeah, I could easily see a guild wars or faction war type thing. Wait, Steve is not a male dragon since life comes from the ocean. And the deep sea dragon is mother, and she sends them to their
Maybe.
That would be interesting.
Maybe.
Now, I hate to rush us off the lore tornado.
If you don't, we'll be here forever.
Exactly. So we do have to move on. But a bit of an after show, and also YouTube comments, and also discussion in our Guild Wars 2 chat channel and our Discord, which, as Dayo said earlier, link in the description here. We're going to move on to talking about ArenaNet's ExtraLife stream. The stream was Friday until today, 3 p.m. Is that Eastern or Pacific?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Pacific.
it wrapped up.
So, schedule other activities was on their ExtraLife event page. Their donation items are still in the store. It's your last week to get the ExtraLife donation items and a free Revive Orb in the gemstore, the 2020 ExtraLife donation bundle, 2019 ExtraLife donation bundle, and the ExtraLife Karma Booster will be available for purchase until November 8th. That is tomorrow. For those of you on YouTube, that is today. We'll donate all of the proceeds to ExtraLife. The final value raised, Team ArenaNet raised $51,154 for the kids. Thanks to all of you for spending the last 24 hours with us on our ExtraLife for Kids Guild Wars 2 live stream marathon. Wanted to donate and didn't have a chance? It's not too late. and then you can do other stuff. But yeah, the donation was the total donated was 26,154, and ArenaNet said they would match up to 25. So $51,000 for the charity. That's pretty damn good. And then
Too shabby.
they did share some interesting stuff here. We've got a look at Xingye Monastery.
I mean, it looks close to it. I don't know if they did they name it. I'm trying to.
That's what it said
I
in
think
the.
they did.
It's revamped. That's a revamped Xingye. Well, actually, you know what?
Well, I think that's what they referred to it as, maybe. So yeah, it's.
It looks, yeah, like a. Actually, you know what? That does look like Guild Wars, like the Guild Wars 1 entrance, and then into the zone. It's like on the left, and then like inside the monastery. But it looks a little bit more revamped. It has been like what?
It's been a bit.
Years. It's been a bit.
Yeah, bit of time.
Few centuries.
Yeah, it's been a while. So I will admit I don't have super like a whole lot of experience with it because I didn't really play much into any of the Guild Wars 2 campaigns. But I mean, just like when we saw that one temple when they basically said, "Hey, we're doing Cantha for the expansion with the giant bell under it." All of their concept artwork is gorgeous for it. And not only did we get anything with Xingye, we also got a little bit from the Echovald Forest.
Yeah, for any of those Zik fans.
Kha'Zix.
And I don't know anything about this because, again,
Well,
I'm not...
a lot of it in Guild Wars 1 was encased in basically stone. It was some of the bits that were turned to stone due to Shiro's curse thing that when he got killed. So I don't I tried to tell if it was like, did it thaw out finally, or I don't know.
It's like there's like a bit of green on the top right there, so it seems like it.
Yeah, that's. I mean, if we've gotten the oceans back, and that was the Jade Sea stuff, so I think it would make sense for it to be destoned or thawed out. I don't know how you want to refer to it as.
Yeah, but honestly, both of them. I'm actually going to grab the link for the Reddit thread where that's posted. The thread itself, the OP is the Xingye art, and then the top comment is going to be the Echovald Forest one for anybody in chat. They're pretty high quality images if you want to use that as like a background or anything. So there you go.
Hopefully finding stuff in Xingye won't be as annoying as in Guild Wars 1. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like chaining was a lot worse just because it was like how shacks built on shacks built on shacks. So it's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but we also have mounts and gliding this time, so. I mean, I know you can jump in Guild Wars 1, but...
You can.
But,
5 simple keystrokes.
Yep. That's all you gotta do. And
6. You have to press enter.
That's true. He's got a point.
Not the way I do it. No. But yeah, you're right. I was so proud that I didn't forget the slash. Dang it. Imagine the jumping puzzles and rooftop racing potential.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
That would be an interesting thing.
But yeah, it already looks beautiful. Like, it might be hard to tell in the Echovald Forest one, but they even have like these stained glass, like the purple circle areas. Those, I think that's actually the stained glass, because that was something that you could find in Guild 1 Echovald.
Very cool.
Stained glass and stuff was intact.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool if they revamped it to be like kind of like chapel aesthetic, but still like have its unique feel to it as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hate to rush, but obviously you guys have plenty of thoughts on the stuff, the concept art. I have nothing because I played literally nothing.
No, I mean, there's not too much more to extrapolate on. That it looks like it's thawed out with the rest of the water that we, I think, have assumed.
It's just, I completely missed the back half of all of the campaigns in Guild Wars 1. And much like my problems with the progression, NCSoft seems to be dropping the back half of their name. So NCSoft is changing their name to just NC and rebranding, and they're getting a new game called Fuser in the NC family of games. NCSoft is reportedly dropping the soft in their company name and is currently working on rebranding themselves as simply NC. This is in line with the company's more widespread and diverse business focus. The new company logo that was revealed earlier this year can now be seen on the company's official Twitter page. The name change doesn't seem to indicate any major restructuring within the company, which looks to be thriving despite their drop in the second quarter earnings for 2020 compared to their earnings to Q1 2020. According to MMO Culture, the rebranding process is expected to be complete by September of 2021. The new game, Fuser, is from the developer Harmonix, the creators of Rock Band and Dance Central, which is apparently a DJ music game.
Yeah.
Launches on November 10th.
Can't wait to play it on Twitch. Oh, wait.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the game I was looking forward to on November 10th.
I'll it'll be funny to
That
see
was the
that
one I
streamed.
was circling.
You can't stream that game.
Yeah, you won't ever be able to stream that game. Just won't be capable of it.
It sucks.
I didn't look at anything. I got 2 emails about it, and I mean,
I won't lie, when you say they're dropping, they're changing their name to NC now, I immediately thought of, what was it, the early 2000s when the WWF had to change their name to WWE, and they had a campaign where they just said, "Get the F out." I'm just thinking of this horrible campaign of them basically saying they're no longer soft. Like, I'm sorry, I can't get that out of my head. This is now your curse as well. Like,
yeah, I'm looking at a list of announced songs, and there are a lot of popular
you won't be
ones.
playing any of them.
There's In the Club, blah blah blah, Bad Guy, Don't Fear the Reaper, Bodak Yellow, Rock the Cash Bar.
yeah, you won't be able to stream this game.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least it's good news, because I was
will
saying,
tell
when was the last music-based game?
Guitar Hero World Tour?
Which was
like,
when?
Relatively recently.
Oh, really? I thought
there
that was
what's the card game I have? Damn it.
Oh, the one we saw at PAX the one year.
Yeah.
Drop Mix.
Drop Mix.
Okay.
That was the last one. That was like 2-3 years ago, I think.
Okay. I mean,
God.
it sounds like we're due, so.
Guitar Hero World Tour was 2008. Never mind.
I was gonna say, I thought that was a while ago.
Yeah.
I thought we got a
upwards to,
recent
like,
Guitar
2013.
Hero game.
We haven't had a Guitar Hero game in a long time. I think we got like a DJ. Wasn't DJ Hero the last thing that we got?
Yeah.
From like Harmonix did DJ Hero, and then like years later they did. I think they did Drop Mix, or someone else did Drop Mix. I thought it was Harmonix, and now they're doing Fuser.
Well, I mean, it's good. It sounds good that, well, I guess NC is, acquiring more things and more, products.
Diversity.
It sounds like that it sounds like that means the company as a whole is doing well, which hopefully means, ArenaNet will be continuing, staying on board and being able to produce this game, maybe others, who knows?
Yeah.
But I wonder what they're diversing into.
Off-topic disclaimer missing. I mean, yeah, it is technically off-topic, but like it's tangentially related, and we're all getting emails about it. I got 2 before the show started.
Yeah.
Chat saying Harmonix was acquired a while ago, though. Well, I think maybe they were sitting waiting because, like they said, Fuser is apparently launching
The 10th.
10th, which I'm not that type of gamer, so I had no idea of it. But so yeah, maybe they were just not pushing anything until hopefully November 10th drops, and
Yeah.
everybody will be playing Fuser and no other game on November 10th.
Clearly.
Wasn't there Valhalla?
Valhalla? That's what I have to say.
And then there is Destiny.
Assassins creep me out. No way. I'm doing Fuser, baby.
Okay,
No, I'm not. I can't. I'm not. I'm gonna be playing Valhalla.
There's really no way to just transition easily away from that. The Nightspeaker package in the gemstore. Oh god, I'm sorry for the whiplash chat. The Nightspeaker package is new in the gemstore. I'm just gonna kind of go over this real quick. 2,000 gems. You get an outfit, a greatsword, the wings backpack, which are really hard to see in this shot.
Oh,
no, it
shit.
does look good.
That's the first time I've actually noticed. Jesus.
But it's
Like,
a glider.
I like the whole outfit. I mean, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
It's a glider backpack combo. So, and you can buy them separately. Like you can buy the glider backpack combo by itself if that's all you like.
I didn't even notice the back piece. I've seen this
now.
image, like,
Is this gonna
5
be
times.
like other old wings? Like, are the wings dyeable as a backpack as well, or even
honestly
not even both?
Don't know. It's probably not, just because it would kind of ruin the theme of the. It doesn't say anything in the blog post about it.
Yeah, they usually don't. But Hat, I agree with Hat. It is a nice set. I do love the outfit. It's a great look. Outfit.
Yeah.
But if you are a fan of outfits,
Also,
it looks tremendous.
The greatsword, if you're doing your Arthas cosplay, like there you go, because that's totally not Frostmourne. But that's
I assume the outfit is even giving you the eyes.
Yes, I'm going to assume that's the helm skin for it.
Yeah. Well, the helm area, because it is an outfit.
Yeah.
Wish they released the eye mask as a separate skin. I mean, I wish they released all of them individually as pieces. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it looks exceptionally well. But yeah, that's the only downside for me is outfit.
Yeah. Yeah, Hat. That's every time I see a new outfit, I'm just like, I just want one part of it. Like that's all I really want.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Well, they did have the return
right.
stuff
Sorry,
that you could get the Choi on a stick.
You get the Choi on a stick. The exosuit mount pack is back for 40% off. It's 1,200 gems. The exosuit mounts are cool. I have them. And then the Black Lion Garden Plot deed for 1,000 gems is back.
Which is good if you want to maximize, like, getting, what was it, the 2-hour buff potions or something?
The food, the ascended food. Also,
but you can get a garden plot in game, like, so it's not like pay to win or anything like that.
You
There
can
is
buy 2 of them from the gem store.
2. Yeah, but I think you can get one in game. Like, there is a free
If you do the ascended cooking stuff, you get a free plot in the game. But you also don't get access to the if you get the Black Lion ones, you can also set the plots in your garden to just constantly grow one type of harvester.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, which means that the last thing we have available for us this week is Community Corner, ladies and gentlemen. And you've noticed that we've got, somebody missing down there in the corner. It's because Arlie is streaming for MMORPG's ExtraLife stream. I'm going to go ahead and grab their ExtraLife page. Get that copy close. And in chat. They're doing various streams going from 10 a.m. Pacific till 10 a.m. tomorrow Pacific. And Arlie, I believe, is streaming.
He might be streaming right now.
Yeah,
or
he might actually be streaming right now or soon. Yeah.
She said 5, but now I can't remember if it was 5 Eastern time or 5 Central, which would put it in like 2 minutes.
Yeah. But she is doing Mass Effect 2 and I believe Celasta. I was gonna laugh because apparently she was, despite the poll that she put out, she was considering just streaming Mass Effect Andromeda to troll people. But
Well, didn't they just announce that they're having
remastering the whole
their
thing, yeah.
remaster? So yeah, perfect timing.
Yeah, the worst kept secret in gaming over the past
Yeah.
couple of years. But yeah, so if you're done with us whenever we go offline, you want to go watch
If you're done
Arlie.
with us.
Well, I mean, if we're offline, they're going to be done with us, right? Right?
Yes, very true.
That's accurate. But go watch. It's more Extra Life stuff. Donate if you feel like it, because it's going to a good cause. And then we've got something a little bit more in the feels category of it. We've got Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2 Memories from Reddit user Reddit user Winterwake Tabletop. Gonna drop that link in chat. The OP talked about the memories and friends they've made while playing Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2, thanks to their dad, who supported them, allowing them to buy Guild Wars. Dad wasn't into games at all. I'm too stupid to play them, he used to say to me all the time. But he was always supportive of my hobbies, and saw gaming as much more than what most of the rest of my family and friends tended to see it as. My dad passed 4 months ago. I recently made a new character on Guild Wars to honor him in my own way, and if in the future I'm able to afford a free character slot or two, I'll make one on Guild Wars 2 as well. In the words of a close friend who said it best, that's a lot of memories and shit that happened from that random moment of choosing a game in a game shop. I'm glad that happened, or I wouldn't have met you, and that would have been boring as fuck. So thanks, Dad. I love you, old man.
Got like goosebumps there.
Right in the feels, man. Right in the feels. Like, it's kind of crazy to think of how one decision can change a whole bunch of your life. Like Arlie saying, hey, if you're getting back into Guild Wars 2, I've got a guild for you to join.
I mean, you can even trace it back further. Like, I mean, we talked about in the past Game Breaker and like Gary Gannon. Like, if he decided not to do any of that stuff or any of the intricacies of the choices that he did, because it was just basically new stuff, then he wanted to do a community after years. It's like a lot of things, and and then it had to be a happy thing of like, I had to be watching that, and I was like, hey, I'll join their community thing, and so there's just so many little things that just bring us to this point, and it's just interesting to hear someone else's look back and appreciation. And
my decision to ultimately this is my decision to become the Paladin mod on MMO Champion, because if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have met Arlie, and then I wouldn't be here doing a podcast for 273 episodes.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how single decisions can change your entire life.
Yep. What is this? Almost around. I mean, it's probably 6 years because we did a couple earlier episodes. So yeah.
We don't talk about those.
Yeah, I can't find them. I would gladly put them up because they were probably that bad.
Just for the hell of it, huh?
Yeah.
But, Age, do you have any thoughts or any ruminations on the feels here?
No, it's just like, yeah. I've always thought about, like, every now and then I always think about the path that led me to this, and it was mostly just watching. I think it was like episode 6 of Guildcast, and I think it's like I started watching Game Breaker, and then kind of just cascaded into all this. So it was just me, who is a Guild Wars player, looking for Guild Wars 2 news, and it just transcended into all this. I probably wouldn't. I don't know if I'd be as active in the gaming sphere as I am now if I didn't do that. But if I didn't start watching all this like gaming news and stuff like that, because like for me, like I was just the guy who played games, and I didn't really focus on patch notes or anything like that. Just take things in stride and just go. But yeah, now like I feel more informed about things, and I'm curious about all different topics, not just Guild Wars 2, and talking about them, and discovering different games, different people, and yeah, It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's always great to see this kind of stuff. But I believe that will wrap it up for us this week. So we get to go into the outros now. And Dayo, where can they find you?
Well, I guess should I say what's going to be happening, which is very awkward after this nice, loving memory.
Well, you're not disappearing, so
True, but it's just, I mean, hopefully no one sees it as a negative.
just rip the Band-Aid off, man.
Okay, hopefully no one sees it as a negative, but, you know, I wasn't here the past 2 weeks, but I'm actually going to be stepping away from talking Skritt. I'm not leaving Mad Realms. There's no bad blood that I know of. Maybe we'll do a
You
YouTube
asshole.
video. Isn't that what everybody does on YouTube? Like, this is why I left. And I have a cryy face. But no, I just creatively I've been itching to do stuff on my own channel where I can quickly make my decisions, but by no means is this like I definitely told them, like, you know, if you ever need a guest, but hopefully this also while I was gone the 2 weeks, you know, we had people like, you know, ZeKrioX, and, you know, even before that, you know, we've been trying to cycle more and more people in, but hopefully this allows it easier that they now definitely know that it'll at least always be 3, so they can at least always find another person. But yeah, hopefully get more people, or, you know, different aspects, different ideas, just maybe get even new people out there that maybe you haven't seen. But, you know, I'm still going to be doing things with Mad Realms. Hopefully, you know, I don't know when I'll come back doing like a different, you know, content thing, but I'll definitely pop up. I did tell them the one caveat would be, and for Arena, this is on you. You can make this happen. They bring Abaddon back. Verbal contract, I have to come back.
It's true.
Because I have to be the most insufferable person when that happens.
It's true. We have it in the Discord chat history.
Yes. So
We have multiple
guaranteed.
episodes.
Guaranteed. You know, it has to happen. So Arena, make this happen. Make this dream come true. Not instantly. We got to build up the hype. You know, we all got this marketing thing going on, right? But yeah, no. But in all seriousness, kind of going to where you can find me, and that's hopefully a good place to see where I'm gonna try to take my channel and stuff. Best bet at @simply_Dayo on Twitch and Twitter. The Twitter is probably the best way you'll be able to find me when everything starts to shift, because that's where things will get interesting. If everything goes to plan, because, you know, one thing with 2020, everything always goes to plan, right?
Shh.
Don't do that.
Sorry.
And on that note, that's the perfect time to transition over to Age. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at Night Road. I think streams are gonna start next week again for me. I'm not sure when, but there will definitely be when I get a new Spider-Man game. I'm definitely gonna stream that. I'm gonna stream the playthrough of that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back on the horse again, and I'm gonna try to take a different avenue with my content. Yeah, that's about it.
You're going to be a Fuser content creator.
Yeah, just
Maybe
completely
on YouTube.
completely
Yeah,
muted
exactly, on
stream. Completely muted stream, and all you can hear is like the key presses. And that's
There
it.
you go. That would be funny to do that one stream just as a.
Oh god.
But anyway, sorry.
And hi, I'm Jim. Oh wait, nope, damn it, I clicked the wrong button. You can find me messing up transitions here on twitch.tv/madrealms for the 3rd week in a row. I can be found on Twitter at MalFanusMMO, and also on Tuesdays and Wednesdays here on Mad Realms. Tuesdays we do random game stuff. Wednesdays is Zero to Hero, which I'm going to be going back to my cheerleader warrior build on Wednesday. This past week was just really stressful for some reason, and I wasn't feeling PvP. And also now you're stuck with me as the main host for Talking Skritt. I'll still try and like work in the odd Dayo transition between topics from time to time. I'm not going to let puns fall away from the show. This is a legacy. This is my torch to bear now, and I will not let you down, Dayo. I promise.
I can only apologize. Everybody was when I was delivering that, everybody was probably like, "Yay, we're finally! It's the end of Dragons of Talking Skritt. We're no more pun." Oh, he's gonna still do the puns.
Heelbreaker QED? No, it's cheerleader. It's shouts and it's a war horn. It's cheerleader. But I hope to see you all on Tuesday when we will do something with some people for a game, and then Wednesday when I get back into PvP, and for more Talking Skritt on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. And that's it for us tonight, everybody. So y'all have a fantastic night, and we will catch you next time. Bye, everybody.
Take care.